Hi, my name's Dave and I'm the founder of Priority Bicycles. I'd like to thank you for your purchase of a Priority Classic. The Priority Classic is our original low maintenance bicycle. We love this bike and we really hope that you do too. Now, before we get started, it's important that as you start unboxing and assembling the bike, that if you have any questions along the way, if something doesn't look right, you think something might have gotten damaged, that you please do not return the bicycle to the store. Simply text us, email us, or call us. Our fastest response is often via text or email, and if you can include pictures, we can quickly confirm anything that might be troubling you. We're really good at responding quickly, and should you need any parts or any help, we can get you help 7 days a week. So please, don't return the bike to store if something doesn't look right. Call us, text us, email us. We're here to help, and our only goal is that you love your new bike. Now, before we get started with assembly, it's important to know that we always recommend that a professional bicycle mechanic assemble your bike. Or, if you're choosing home assembly, we do recommend that when you're completed with the assembly and before you ride the bike, that you do bring it to a professional bicycle mechanic and have them safety check the bike before you ride. Now, let's get started on your assembly. You're going to need either a pair of diagonal cutters or a pair of scissors to open the box and cut through the ties that are holding the bike in the box. Once you've emptied the box, you should have the bike all held together with ties, your seat and seat post, a pump, and your accessories box. Now, with everything laid out, let's open up the accessories box. Inside your accessories box, you should have a water bottle cage, a set of pedals, a front brake with lever, and a bag containing your owner's manual and your tools. Now is a great time to open the bag and review all of the owner's manuals included. Of particular importance, you'll see, is this yellow sheet of paper. This talks about where to register your bike. It's a really good time now to register your bike. Your serial number, which is required for registration, is located both on the bottom of the bike, right here, along what's called the bottom bracket, and it's also located on the side of your box. Now let's remove our tools. You should have a 15mm wrench. This will be used for our front wheel and our pedals. A 10mm wrench. This will be used for our front brake. A 5-6mm Allen wrench, 5 on one side, 6 on another. This will be used for our handlebars, our seat, and our front brake. And a 4mm Allen. This will be used for our water bottle cage. Now let's cut all the ties off the bike, remove the front wheel, and remove all the protective packaging off the bike. With all the protective packaging removed, it's time to install the handlebars. But the first thing we have to do, which is very important, is make sure that the front fork is pointed the correct way. When we ship the bike, the fork is pointed in reverse. This is incorrect. You'll also notice a red front sticker, which is currently pointing towards the back. It's very important that we first turn the fork to face forward. Make sure that your gear cable is not between the fork legs like I have it here. So we'll go ahead and make sure our gear cable is out to the side and turn our fork forward so that the bend faces the front of the bike and the red front sticker is pointing forward. With that done, we can go ahead and take our 6mm Allen wrench, grab our handlebars, and making sure that the gear cable is pointing forward, not behind the handlebars, but in front of the handlebars, we can insert the handlebar stem into the front of the bike. Now, you'll notice on the handlebar stem, there is a dotted line that has a minimum insertion mark. You're going to want to make sure that the minimum insertion mark is inside the body of the bicycle and not visible. So go ahead and push down past the minimum insertion, then grabbing your biggest Allen wrench, your 6mm, you can tighten. Don't get it too tight now, as we'll make some final adjustments later. You can also slightly loosen the handlebar clamp here and point the handlebars parallel to the ground. And tighten. I'm going to take my gear cable and move it to the front of the reflector. Now, with these slightly tightened, I'm going to use my 15mm wrench to install the front wheel. Now, remove any protective packaging from the front wheel. Take a look at the tire. On the tire, you will notice a drive arrow. That drive arrow should be going the rotation of the bicycle. You want the tread on the front to match the same direction as the tread on the rear. Using your hands, loosen both sides of the axle nuts. We're going to now lift up the bike and install the front wheel into the fork, ensuring that the nuts and washers are on the outside of the fork leg. With the washers and the nuts on the outside of the fork leg, take the notch in each washer and install it into the notch in the fork leg. And hand tighten both sides. Once hand tightened, ensuring that the wheel is center, go ahead and tighten. Tighten each wheel axle nut enough that it leaves an imprint in your hand. With the front wheel on and the handlebars on, put down your kickstand. And now the bike should stand up on its own. Before we install the pedals, it's important to figure out which pedal is right and which pedal is left. Each pedal should have a sticker on it. This has an L for left and an R for right. In addition, each pedal should be stamped R and L at the end of the axle here. Go ahead and open up the pedals. First, let's install your right pedal. Your right pedal is standard threading, which means you turn it to the right or you turn it clockwise. Once your pedal feels tight, you want to give it another really good tightening with the wrench. It should leave a good imprint in your palm when you're done tightening. Now we're going to move to the left pedal. The left pedal is reverse threaded. This means we're going to turn counterclockwise to thread it in. Again, it's very important that you get the pedal as tight as possible. It should leave a good imprint after tightening. Now let's move to the seat and seat post. You'll want to pay attention to the minimum insertion line on the seat post, just like the handlebar stem. Make sure that the seat post is installed at least past the minimum insertion mark. You can use your 5mm Allen wrench, which is the smaller side of this wrench, to tighten. Now we're going to start the front brake installation. You'll need the front brake, your 5/6 millimeter Allen, and your 10 millimeter wrench. Go ahead and unwrap the front brake. Use your 5 millimeter wrench or your finger to unscrew the bolt that holds the clamshell open for the brake lever, and put the brake lever on the left handlebar, on the left side of the handlebar, and tighten. Now, using your 10 millimeter wrench, let's grab your front brake. First, remove the locking nut on the outside. You're then going to find 2 round washers and 2 concave washers. Go ahead and remove 1 concave washer and 2 round washers, leaving just 1 concave washer in place. You're going to put this through the hole in the front of the bike. Now is a good time to remove the front sticker so you don't have it there later. With the front sticker removed, go ahead and insert the brake. You're going to want to make sure that the concave washer lines up with the contour on the fork. Then, on the back side, put the washers on back in order. Concave washer, ensuring that it lines up with the contour of the fork, thicker washer, and then thin round washer, and then the locking nut. Use the closed end of your 10 millimeter wrench to tighten down the brake. You'll need to hold it with one hand while you tighten with another. Center the brake to the best of your ability. Once centered, we're going to need to adjust the cable pull on the brake to get the brake pads closer to the rim. You'll notice right now, when I grab the brake lever, that the pads are still very far from touching the rim. With one hand, loosen the cable, and with another hand, push the brake pads against the rim, ensuring that the cable is in both barrels. Pull it tight. Then loosen to the point that each brake pad's about 1/4 inch from the rim, and tighten. Once tight, you should be able to grab the brake lever, and both pads should come in full contact with the rim without the brake lever touching the grip. Once that's set, you can go ahead and with one hand hold the brakes close, and with another hand do any adjustments that are needed on the pad. You want each brake pad to fully come in contact with the rim and not the tire, yet not be hanging off. Once tightened, you can double check that the brake is centered and that each pad is equal distant from the rim, and again tighten. Any fine cable adjustments can be done by turning the barrel here at the brake arm or at the brake lever. With the brake installed, let's move to installing the water bottle cage. You'll need the 4 millimeter Allen wrench. Go ahead and remove the 2 bolts on either the seat tube or the down tube of the bike. With the water bottle cage installed, let's move on to putting air in our tires. It's important to note that your bike most likely arrived with completely flat tires. Looking at your pump, we're going to want to put between 70 and 80 psi of pressure. 70 to 80 are the big numbers on the outside of the dial. To inflate your tire, hold one hand against the valve so that it doesn't come through the rim. With the other hand, push the pump head fully onto the valve and pull up on the lever. Now, inflate. Again, your target pressure is between 70 and 80 pounds of pressure. Your tires most likely arrive completely flat, so this may take a minute. Once fully inflated, push the lever down and pull the head off. then replace your valve cap. Your tire should feel like a firm potato. Now move to the rear tire and repeat the steps. With your basic assembly complete, now it's time to make sure everything's in place and everything on the bike is tight. Start with your handlebar stem, the 2 bolts, make sure your handlebars are straight and that your bars are positioned at the desired height. Go ahead and tighten. You'll want to make your handlebars and stem good and tight. When you're finished tightening, you should have a good indent in your palm. Put your seat at the proper height. And now go through every single bolt on the bike, the bolts we've touched today and the bolts you haven't, and make sure that everything's tight. Again, if you've done home assembly, we strongly recommend that you have a professional bicycle mechanic safety check your bike before riding. Should you have any questions, our telephone number and our email address are on the screen now. You can email us, text us, or call us. We're around 7 days a week, and we only want you to love your new bicycle. Thanks for your support of Priority, and happy riding.